We're a livestock project, and so it might not be obvious, as to why we're doing anything with agricultural journalism. Farmers in Georgia really needed good quality information. It's really, really important that they are served by the media. Journalists themselves needed to be able to understand and report on what was the real situation for rural people. We're a livestock project, and so it might not be obvious, as to why we're doing anything with agricultural journalism. However, the farmers in Georgia really needed good quality information so that they could improve their livestock husbandry, so they could produce better milk, produce better meat, sow better crops, know better how to sell their products, and just be more connected with each other. Because when we started, there was very little agricultural information available to farmers. And of course in Georgia, 50% of the population at least is engaged in agriculture, is engaged in living in a rural place, engaged in rural livelihoods. So it's really, really important that they are served by the media, and not just for agriculture alone, but everything that goes with agriculture, living in the countryside, caring for the environment. So it seemed obvious to us that there was this need. And then when we thought on how to achieve then change at scale, you can fund one newspaper, you can fund one television station, but you're not going to really get the coverage you need to all the rural population. So the answer for us was that the journalists themselves needed to be able to understand and report on what was the real situation for rural people. So that's how it started. When we first came in, we did work with a newspaper, and we did work with television program, and we got excellent results from those, several television programs, but these were, in a sense, short-term solutions unless the actual fabric, the way in which reporting worked, changed completely. So our vision was one not in which rural people just have a program about tractors and seeds, but in which rural people are included in the media landscape in Georgia. So it's very easy for a country to become capital-centric, like Tbilisi, and then everything coming out from Tbilisi. But this was about showing the richness and the fullness of the Georgian culture, Georgian life, and making it relevant for lots of people. So this was about getting young people who enter into journalism excited as well. So their own experience became richer. And once they were inspired to understand what is outside the city, what can be really, truly loved in Georgia, then this actually then provides an impetus for studying journalism, and then also doing an excellent job when you're a journalist. So it was trainings, training of trainers. I think we started, an agri-journalist came from, who had experience with BBC in Britain, and then she trained journalists here, and then created a module for universities, and this was taken up, and now up to about 400 agricultural journalism students have studied this module, have included this in their studies. The clear thing is that Georgia's not the only country with a large population of people who live in villages and whose whole life is about the rural experience. And so we already had an intervention in veterinary medicine which had spread both to Azerbaijan and Armenia. So we knew about the structure of the Armenian and Georgian sort of rural landscape. We also knew there were universities, we knew there were people who were journalists, so we knew we could spread the model. And luckily we had an excellent partner in the Journalism Resource Centre who then could help us make these regional linkages. And obviously, especially now and recently is a very difficult time, but there are lots of people who believe in regionalism, who want to see Georgia, Armenia and Azerbaijan with this close bond. And whenever we have people from both countries coming here to Georgia, we have excellent exchanges. So it seemed clear to spread this further, and we're even thinking now, well, why stop at Georgia, Armenia and Azerbaijan? There's a whole Eastern Partnership network, and I know some interest has been shown, so I think the future's bright to take this further. Information takes a lot of work. Generating information, processing information, packaging information, and then getting information to the people for whom it's designed. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of work, and what I've seen is that this project really has been excellent. It's now in, as you say, 3 countries. It's lots of students going through. It's growing every year. The enthusiasm's amazing, but what's quite interesting to me is not quite enough knowledge about actually this is out there. So now I think it's really important for this information about how good this is and how other people can use it too is shared. And I think that is why this conference is so important, because it's a space where, you know, people can meet each other, well, it's virtual, but even so, share and show their experience from their own countries and pick it up. So it's again about amplifying this information and the knowledge of it, amplifying it further. And I'm very positive about it, actually. I think it's a really good milestone also for the people who've been involved in this and who have been amazing. There's individuals in universities, individuals in Journalism Resource Centre, individuals in Armenia Media Centre there. They've worked really hard and they've been so enthusiastic and they've put so much energy, and I think it's wonderful now for them to sort of meet each other and share it with others too, so they can take it up. So I think that's why it's important. I mean, I'm a countryside person myself. I'm from a farming background, and I believe very strongly that the countryside and farming is integral to a sort of balanced life. And in the West, you see a lot of countries who have really lost natural habitats. They're trying to, and through a lot of intensive farming, for example, they're trying to return it now back to organically farmed land or reforested land, forested with natural species, or there's an understanding that these habitats are hugely important. For example, just as, you know, to stop the honeybee being wiped out, for example. Without the bee, without insects, we haven't got the pollinators for our crops. We're understanding that, you know, so there are a lot of issues with, as you say, climate smart farming. That's a great topic. But for me, there's a wider topic that agriculture needs to be understood as something that's not just about production. It's about a whole way of life. And it's a way of life that's extremely valuable, not just for the amount of money you make from meat or dairy or crops produced by somebody, but it's about the value of the ecological custodianship of the land. And then I think you can get more value out of that. Tourists do want beautiful natural environments to go to. They do want to see beautiful flowers. They do want to see beautiful mountains and trees and all the things that come with it. So I think we have to understand that agriculture and rural life is about more than just producing, you know, a commodity. And a lot of people that we talk to love the countryside. There's a kind of belief that all people in these villages who don't have a lot of money, they all want to go to the city and get opportunities. That's actually not true. Not all of them do. They're often very proud of what they do. They want to stay and they want to have a life there. So that's what we have to work towards. Sustainable rural livelihoods for people in places other than cities. So I think it's just a very exciting topic and very, very relevant to now.